Well, hello there, peoples. I know it has been nearly a year. It has been a while since I'm doing a video, and but I needed to make a comeback because I felt like it's time. Yeah, you're gonna hear airplanes. Sorry about that. I know this is my first time filming outside. I'm doing a different setting, but today's video, because I'm gonna announce that. Well, I'll talk about later in the video, like what my plans are with my channel. But starting right now, today's video, I wanted to talk about my. I love the MCU, but I have some criticisms, and I'm just a bit tired of this double standard that people seem to have of the MCU. It's just like it can never do any wrong. There's no negatives. It's all just positives, and I just want to give my gripes of the MCU. I still enjoy MCU films, and a lot of times I will go see it. It's just I want to give my thoughts on my problems with the MCU. But starting off the jokes, and I understand this is one that's of contention with a lot of people, because some people's eyes it's just, oh, what's wrong with some levity? And here's the thing, I don't mind humor, but it got to a point like after like Avengers came out, it just started to feel like these comic book films just started to become similar, and it just seemed like any comic book film that's not that is just not good, because now it's the standard. Now every comic book film needs to be a comedy. Look at what happened with, Batman v Superman. No matter what people say, I still think that's partially why it wasn't a typical Marvel movie. No one was expecting. We've not seen a real serious superhero film in a while, and I just would like more serious films. And here's the thing, I don't mind jokes, but when it's every scene, it gets a bit annoying and excessive. I would love, even like the villain will make a joke, and it just gets like everyone's doing one-liners. It gets a bit annoying and over the top. But look, Spider-Man Homecoming, that first hour, I think that to me was like the worst part of the film. I think it picked up in the second part, but to me, that first half of like the jokes were just really bad and just didn't hit. And people have said this film's really funny. It's like, I just don't think it is. I mean, Guardians I found funny. I actually enjoy the Guardians movies. But yeah, that's the humor aspect I just get a bit annoyed by. Another thing is the Spider-Man Homecoming was the perfect, more the effects it had on, like, in this film, there were many times it just felt like they were just not dropping MCU hints, like, oh, here's Iron Man, here's the Avengers, let's mention the Avengers a lot. Let's mention Iron Man, let's mention what happened, what happened in the first Avengers movie. Let's just mention. It got a bit excessive after a while. It's like I was hoping this would just kind of just be a Spider-Man movie, and it gets to a deeper problem of like you could still world build, but you don't have to do it in every scene and just drop like this is part of this universe. Like with Dawn of Justice, it set up its own universe. It wasn't just a world building movie. It still had its own narrative, and this Spider-Man movie focused on its own narrative instead of just trying to be like. And this isn't just a rant on Spider-Man Homecoming. It's just my problem in general with a lot of Marvel movies. But it was very evident in this one. It just focused on just setting up, here's the nods to the other films. Here's mention of Iron Man and all, etc. It just got a bit excessive. Another problem is sometimes the jokes. I'm going back to the jokes, but my problem is when they joke in the middle of like it's supposed to be a serious moment. It's like, can you let like a serious moment happen? We're not children. That's why like in the X-Men movies or they know how to do humor, but they can balance out the humor and the seriousness. It's not just all jokes. Even like the MCU TV shows, which I'm going to be honest, I think I like better than the movies. It's because they can do humor. They could do they know how to do humor and it's not over the top. And the other problem is the villain problem. And this is one of the biggest criticisms that even a lot of people have acknowledged, who even like MCU films have acknowledged that this has been a problem. Granted, there have been a few. A lot of people would say Loki. I think Vulture was one of the best things about Spider-Man Homecoming. I thought he was a solid villain. And I even liked Ronan from Guardians 1. And it's like, I'm fine with villains like that, but the problem is the MCU is it doesn't focus on the villain. They want to make the hero always look good. And it's like hero is always as good as his villains, and most of the MCU villains are either terrible or they're just very forgettable, Like look what happened with Ultron. in the comics, he's this badass robot like that fucks up the Avengers, but in the movie, he can't do shit. He wasn't even intimidating. He like there's a part where he like rips some dude's arm off, and he like was like, "I'm sorry." Oh my god, that was so cringy. It's like, can we have a villain that's just a villain? You know. So hopefully Thanos will be that guy coming in Infinity War. Another problem I have is I want more movies like Winter Soldier. I would like people say Civil War. That was not really a fucking. But that wasn't really. It had It still had jokey moments. It wasn't super serious like Winter Soldier was. There was jokes in it, but it was a pretty serious movie. And actually, and that's also the other problem is there's never any real consequences in these films. There really isn't. You know, Guardians actually sort of 1 and 2 had consequences. You know, whereas even Winter Soldier had a lot of consequences. These films it seems like they're able to do that, but they can never seem to do it in any of the other movies. It's just a lot of, you know, there's like, look at Iron Man. He's really the one he's the one who built Ultron, and in Civil War, he wants to act like, oh, it's all ours. Like, what? You're the one who built Ultron. Like, what? And another problem, I just feel like a lot of the movies, besides like maybe a few, I would say are rewatch worthy. You know, and those few are like Guardians 1 and 2, Winter Soldier. What's another one? Maybe even Iron Man 1 and The Incredible Hulk, like those 4. People, and I'm going to be honest about the Avengers movies, people have given those movies too much credit. Like, even the first Avengers, I loved it at the time, but if you watch it again, it's a very average film. It's not that great. There's some cool moments in it, like, it's cool seeing them come together, but that's all it had. And Avengers 2 was just, I did not like that film. You know, I wish these films, I like these films, but I would like for them to do something different, because it gets to a point where sometimes these films are formulaic, you know? You know, it just feels like yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, Doctor Strange was almost similar to Iron Man in terms of, like, the story, you know, like a guy who's overconfident and, like, a dick gets into a major accident and has to learn to become better and becomes a hero. It's almost the similar story with Doctor Strange and Iron Man. And some even saying Ant-Man, but I can't speak on Ant-Man because that's the one I've not seen. But it's just, these MCU movies are just very average. And maybe it's just after not all, but just there are some in there. Like Civil War I enjoyed, but it was definitely overhyped. It wasn't, like, amazing. No, I don't. And then that's the thing, too. Like, after seeing movies like Logan and just even watching old, like, comic book films like Watchmen, even like watching stuff like that, it's like those kind of comic book movies changed the game. I can't deal with, I don't mind jokes, but it's just like films like Logan and just even Watchmen changed the game. And I'm not saying all comic book films need to be that, but it just seems like nowadays that the MCU has perpetuated this myth that now comic book movies just need joke fests. And it's like, if people read comics, there's so many comics that I feel like comics aren't all jokes, and there are comics that are more humorous. Like, yeah, if you're reading like maybe a Spider-Man comic, certain Spider-Man comics, but there are definitely Spider-Man comics out there that are pretty dark. Obviously, Batman comics, Red Hood, certain characters are really dark and it's really serious. And it also makes me question, what if The Dark Knight came out this year? Would people be like, oh, it's too dark, it's too serious? And we were already kind of getting that with Dark Knight Rises at the time, because it came out the same year as the Avengers. There was already people like, this is too dark, it's too long, it's too serious. I just don't understand why I like movies. I can enjoy a comedy like Guardians and stuff like that, but I could also watch movies like Logan, or even epics like Logan and just Watchmen, even Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice in there. Certain films like that are a bit more on the serious side, I like that, and I wish we can go back to that, but I hope the MCU, or even Winter Soldier, I hope I want more MCU films like that. I really do. But, in closing, I just wanted to talk about this. Because the MCU gets way too much of a pass nowadays. It's like if you criticize it, it's sacrilege. And if I get any comments from MCU fans, I feel like there's going to be those people, oh, the DCU. No one's talking about the DCU. And I'll even say it here. I like the DCU. Whatever. Fuck it. I like it. I don't give a shit. And it's not me comparing the two. I barely compared it to DC. I was talking about my problems with the MCU. And eventually I'm going to do a video on, like, MCU fans. Not all, but, like, the annoying ones. It just needs to be said that the MCU is not perfect, and I'm just kind of tired of this narrative that it is perfect. But anyway, I just want to announce, I'm going to try to do, I might do another video later tonight talking about 2016, considering I didn't even talk about it because I stopped doing videos for a bit. So yeah, I will talk about 2016 and even early 2017. Or you know what? No. I might do a really long video like tonight. Like maybe I'll review movies from 2017 tonight. I don't know. Like movies that I've seen so far. But, yeah, so I'm going to keep posting it. I'm going to try to make sure to keep posting at least daily. But other than that, guys, I'm going to see you guys soon. Peace.